Before I started, I knew that I wanted to take a stab at doing music full time in some capacity. I had no idea of like what it would actually take. It just felt like a dream. It didn't feel like anything that I could really step towards. And I mean, not to like get too ahead of myself, but like I see more of a clear path now and what I need to do to sort of, I guess, like stay relevant and continue to grow.
What's up, everybody? So you're about to watch a testimony video from an artist named Zim. His first name is Jake. He is a recent graduate from our Inner Circle program, and he is such a great example of someone who not only fully took advantage of the resources and the support around him, but he truly put in the work. And you can have the best branding, the best content strategy, and even the best support system around you, but if you're not someone who actually shows up and consistently puts in the work, then there's really no great results at the end of any program, any course, any whatever. So we're super proud of all the results that Jake has gotten, and we know that this is just the beginning for him in his career. He's also gonna mention that when he started with us, he was at 300 followers, and when we recorded this testimony, he was at 3,900, and I'm happy to let you know that just a couple months later, he's now at 10K followers on Instagram, and we're just extremely proud of everything he's done, and we can't wait to see what's next for him. Hope you enjoy the video. Jake, first off, bro, I just want to let you know, dude, and I've told you this a lot, I'm super proud of you, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
You came in and, dude, you hit the ground running, man, and not everyone does that. And I think the success that you've had so far is not just because there's a lot of good information or even working with me or whatever. It's because you took action, man. And no matter what I do or what there is in here, I can't control what anyone else does. But dude, when someone really puts their effort into it and really tries, that's when the best results happen, dude. And so you're one that really sticks out to me, bro. So it was very cool to see you get that validation relatively quickly.
I appreciate that. And it's been a pleasure and an honor working with you. I couldn't imagine where I would be at in the artist project otherwise. So it's hard to say, but I know for sure that I am well beyond where I would have been otherwise. And no thanks to you and the courses that you've laid out and the people that you brought on, the community, the blueprint, everything, all of it's just been wildly successful for me. I still feel like I have a long way to go. If anything, it's made me realize, what this is going to really take to get to where I want to be, and that now I have more tools in my tool belt to get there.
Where were you at before you joined?
Man, I was making music, making content on a much less frequent basis, and really just throwing paint at the wall is kind of where I felt like I was at. I was trying to do the things I knew generally what things needed to be done, which was releasing music on a regular basis and making content like 1A, 1B. I had an idea of what it took, but there just was not much rhyme or reason when it came to content, especially. I was just lackadaisically just putting text on screen, recording videos, and I really had no idea what I was doing, if I'm being honest. I mean, for what it's worth, I don't really feel like I know what I'm doing now still, but like I'm at least getting results. Before I started, I knew that I wanted to take a stab at doing music full time in some capacity. So I had a direction in terms of where I wanted to get to, but I had no idea of like what it would actually take. It felt like maybe at some point play some local gigs or something, obviously, like I said, had dreams of doing bigger things, but had no idea at all of like how I could get there. It just felt like a dream. It didn't feel like anything that I could really step towards. And I mean, not to like get too ahead of myself, but like I see more of a clear path now on how I could, end up getting closer to where I want to be.
Where is Jake today? How do you feel? What's going on with the project?
I've gained a whole lot of followers. I think I started at like 300 on Instagram, and I'm at like 3,900 now, which has led to multiple opportunities for me of playing at places that I actually want to play at and like getting booked for my music. So playing at, some of the spots around here, like Larimer Lounge, which is a staple, and like playing a show at Club Vinyl, which is another place that, is regularly bringing in big dance artists and like just doing something that I enjoy. Those opportunities of being able to play shows and do this has all just come through social media. It's all been people finding my music and saying, hey, like I like what you're doing. What you're doing is cool and it has potential, yada yada, whatever. And I want you to play a slot at my show or whatever. That has been all thanks to social media. I've done outreach, but none of the outreach has landed. It's all just been through DMs and through networking that way. I feel like I have a path now of knowing how content works and how social media works at least better, and what I need to do to sort of, I guess, like stay relevant and continue to grow. You kind of have to figure out what your balance is of when it comes to production and making music is like, over here is like, this is what I'm passionate about. This is just me pouring myself into it. And then over here you have like, this is a TikTok trend waiting to happen. And it's like, where can you kind of find that balance of making music that feels like you and inspiring, but also has the potential to do well on social media. And that's something that, and maybe I understood it to some capacity, but now I have that as like one of my very first thoughts before making music is like, sometimes I'll sit down and I'll write a song and I know from the beginning, I'm like, this is just going to be for me, going to be for fun, whatever. I don't have to think about any of it. But when I'm sitting down, I'm like, what can I do that's going to potentially, get me streams, get DJ support, whatever, trying to find little nuggets that are going to do well on social media, but still stuff that's you. That's like my biggest thing now, along with just constantly trying to stay on top of what is doing well with social media, what are the trends, yada, yada. When I like put those two things together, now I feel like I have a direction and I have like, this is what I need to do to continue to grow and to continue to evolve as an artist. Like as long as I keep on doing these two things, there's no reason why I'm not going to continue to gain support, get better at making music, etc.
Dude, I want to talk a little bit about the kind of story of No Relaxin.
That one particular tune I made it in November of last year. I went to Seismic Dance Event, which is in Austin. It's a dope independent music festival. Really good, especially if you love house music. So I was feeling inspired and I sat on the plane and I wrote at least the crux of the song on the plane. I didn't really feel any type of way about it. I liked it. I was dancing by myself when I first wrote it. I thought it was dope, but like, I kind of feel that way about every song that I write. So I thought it was just like something cool. This was even like before I started working with you. I posted one video about it, did okay, but this was also before I was really getting any support on social media at all. It's literally just my friends or whatever. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Didn't work. Shelf it, whatever, do it later. So the month of January, Zach hosted a comp for all of the students, all of the homies in the community to post every day on social media. And that was basically the requirement to enter the competition. And the person who gained the most, I think it was the most followers in that time frame, we got some tickets to Millennium, which is dope. So shout out to you for that. But I was about halfway through and I was really struggling at this whole like posting every day. It was really grinding my gears because it was the first time I'd really committed to it. And I was about halfway through. I had no idea what to post. I had already posted the one song for the first like 10 or 15 days. I'm like, I need to do something different. And I was like, you know what? Let me just throw No Relaxin on there. And immediately it did quite a bit better than my other videos. It wasn't anything crazy, but it did quite a bit better. And this was the time that I first started messing about with trial reels. And so I took that same video that I posted on my main feed and I tweaked it just a little bit. I flipped it and I put it on trials. And it like that video took off and it had like, I think now it has like 125K views or whatever, but the engagement on it was insane. Like I had my DMs were getting flooded like, yo, this is fire, yada, yada. Can I get this? And so that's when I was like, okay, we got something here. And once I kind of figured that out, I just tripled down on it. I started posting it every day. And like every time I was posting it, it was popping. I ended up like kind of scrapping everything to get it released. But I had a bunch of people follow me as a result of it on like people that are cool, like Adventure Club, Cody Co, random one, Dancing Astro followed me, PJ from Levity, 1/3 followed me. PJ asked me for the song. I got ghosted after I asked him if he did anything with it, which is cool. All love. But yeah, so I had him and a number of other like kind of mid-sized house artists, like guys that are playing shows regularly and touring, but maybe not like the biggest guys that you would know, kind of hit me up and asked for it and supported me and sent me videos, which was really cool of them like playing my track. And that all kind of just like snowballed the beginning of it. That like was a catalyst for like everything else. And now, even though I might not have like that same song, everything else went from here to here. Like the bar just raised for like what my standard is for like support on Instagram, for views, engagement, etc. Again, this is like kind of part of the way that how I can see the path a little bit more clearly now, because you're kind of treading along, not doing very well, and then you get like a really big bump of engagement. But when you kind of fall back down to normal, you're higher than you were before. And so you can kind of like rinse and repeat the same path of like, you're going to get something that pops for a little bit and you're going to come back down to reality, which was a hard thing for me to grasp. I was like, I don't know how to keep this up. It took some trials and tribulations for me to like come to terms mentally of like how this kind of ebbs and flows. I see the vision of, or like the path of you do well and then it kind of settles back down, but you settle a little bit better than you were before. And it's kind of, I think it's just going to be rinsing and repeating that over and over. And eventually that spike is going to be way bigger and it's going to get way more traction. And then you're going to, who knows? It's hard to say what's going to happen, but
yeah,
I think with the consistency of it and the continuing to try and elevate your content, one up your content from before, and just like trusting that eventually, if you stay in it long enough, you're going to get these moments that are going to grow your artist brand, IG streams, whatever. I think it's eventually it's going to get there. So
I want you to talk just a little bit, man, about what it was like to be on that stage after kind of what you've built, and then what that guy said to you in the back about no Relaxin.
It felt really good. It felt like my first big reward for kind of doing this, and like a payoff. And it felt like it all kind of culminated to like this opportunity, which was cool. It felt really good, to get the opportunity and kind of feel like I had some hard work paying off. It felt really good to be able to just like play my music to people and listen to my music on loud ass speakers, which is obviously just like the most fun thing. I don't really know how else to describe it, but the fact that like it felt like I finally got like a little bit of a break. Obviously it's very surreal, like actually playing and being up there. There's not quite a feeling like it. I think it's what we all live for. Honestly, it's what we all want to come back, and we're all kind of chasing that dragon of like having a show where there's people that are into it and loving what's going on. Incredible opportunity. I'm so fortunate and so happy to have had that experience. But after the show, I was talking to one of the guys doing photography. I finished the set with No Relaxin'. It was the last song I played, and he's like, "Yo, dude, like set was sick, yada yada. I cannot believe you played No Relaxin'." And I was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Wait, do you know that song?" He's like, "Yeah, dude, I listen to it all the time. I rip it in the gym when I work out. It's like, it's my favorite house song right now." And I was like, "No shit. I made that." He's like, "Wait." And he had this moment and he realized he had no idea that I was the person who actually made that song. So it's the first time anybody has ever like, out of the blue recognized me or my music. Absolutely the most surreal moment. So funny. I'll be telling that story for the rest of my life for sure. Great experience. 10 out of 10. Can't say it enough. All comes back to socials and grinding and staying on top of it. And one of the big things that Zach preaches, probably the biggest thing that I hear him say all the time, is just trusting the process and being in love, involved, and devoted with the process, because that is ultimately going to be the thing that gets you through it. Like, nobody is going to make it who doesn't absolutely love this, because I see now how long it could take, and like how many iterations of myself and of my music it could take before I really get there. I do it because I want to. You have to love making music, and you have to love the process, the day in, day out of like not getting much validation, because otherwise it's not going to be able to stick around long enough to see it happen. So
those are the moments that this is all about, man. And so,
absolutely.
you know, whether that guy found you just on socials, or maybe he was, you know, after Dancing Astronaut put you on the playlist, maybe it was that, but
Yep.
it's such a special moment, bro. He was literally the photographer. He's in the green room. You closed
Yep.
with it. It was someone you didn't know who was like,
Yep.
bro, I love this song. I think that also goes to show, just in terms of like motivation for you and other artists. It's like, dude, you never know who's listening. That was his favorite house song, whether he got to tell you that or not that night, or whether he even saw you or not that night.
Right.
So
right.
Like, how many other people are out there just like rocking out to your stuff that you don't even know? This place that you're at now, man, I'd love for you to just break down a little bit, like the things that helped you kind of get here.
The 5D was incredibly helpful, and not a way that I was imagining. What it really did for me was just give me clarity on kind of who I am and how I can position myself in a little bit more of like a unique and authentic way. You know, like what kind of like character qualities do I possess as a person? So that was like incredibly helpful in terms of allowing me to kind of find an avenue for myself. Like what type of person am I gonna show myself as through social media and through this lens of the artist project? You know, I had just a completely different idea, I guess. I thought I was going to be like I was going to have like a Google type of brand or something. You know what I mean? Like something very like set in stone, which it's okay. It's like, I think you can absolutely get that out of this. But I think for me, what was more rewarding or what was more eye-opening was just digging through all of the material to figure out more about myself and how I can use who I am as a person to give myself something unique / relatable for people to gravitate towards. I know myself better as a result of it. The weekly calls have been arguably the most underrated part of this for me. I think in terms of what my expectations were for the weekly calls versus how much I ended up getting out of them at the end. It's not necessarily about the content of the call all the time. Like sometimes it is very helpful. Like we've had some really cool guest speakers. Like the ones that come to the top of my mind are like Noro was really good. DJ Vice was also really good. So you get like unique perspectives from other people. But aside from like the actual meat and potatoes of the weekly calls, it was more about showing up on a Monday night and talking shop and like staying in it. And that was turned out to be such an incredibly helpful thing for me. Like I feel like I've said it a bunch of times now, but like the biggest thing is just staying in it and like staying in the mindset of being an artist and staying in the mindset of making content. And like you have to be committed to it. You know, for me, whether I was not feeling it, sometimes I would just sit back and just listen, but I felt like I was at least tuning back in a little bit, or I'm feeling really good and like, you know, we're getting involved and we're talking about whatever. Regardless of how I felt, it was a good like stabilizer for me. Hearing about other artists do well and hearing about their wins was also just good motivation, like how they've been trying new things and how they've been consistent this week or whatever. And you're like, man, like I got to be consistent too. Part of that, for me, at least from my experiences, it's just like coming from playing sports as a kid. The biggest thing that you learn in sports is about teamwork and camaraderie and all that. That's like I think the biggest takeaway. Being a part of the community and like doing that is kind of like getting back to that sort of feeling of like, I'm showing up, whether it's for me or for the rest of the group. I'm going to be here, and then I'm also going to do what I know I'm supposed to be doing. Oh, I've met a friend from Denver, so that's been really nice to be able to get to know someone from like the city that I live in, but also have bonded with some of the other guys like Muela. Him and I are constantly chatting, and Schultze Eckhart, keeping up with him. Yeah, it's been really, really nice getting to actually know people, and the value of getting to know these people who are also doing the same thing. And whether or not, you know, it's the people that I mentioned are like the people that I'm closer with, or just other people in the group who I don't maybe talk to as much. It's so incredibly important to have a group of people around you who are also doing the same thing. It's easy to kind of think, you know what, maybe this isn't all for me. Maybe I'm not meant to be doing this, or all the thoughts that are spinning when you're not feeling motivated or when you're just not feeling it. Having that group of people to fall back on is essential to be able to keep up with it, because there are times when you're not going to feel like it, and it's either not letting other people down or trying to keep up with my peers. It's either one or the other for me. That's kind of how I operate. So having the community, I don't know. I think it might actually be the biggest contributor, at least to the consistency side of it. The course material is great. I think I learned a lot, and not to mention Zach also has been extremely helpful with the consistency side. But I've learned a lot from them and from him and from the course, and also from the other people, the guest speakers and the friends and everything. But I think knowledge can only get you so far. At some point, you got to put your nose to the grindstone and just fucking do it. And I don't think I'd be able to do it without the community, at least at the level that I did.
What's been obviously the most helpful about, what I've helped you with, but secondly, and maybe most importantly, the value of actually having someone in like a coaching mentor role, as opposed to what most artists think they need, right, is like a manager.
The most helpful thing working with you has been nailing down and solidifying social media concepts, and also just simplifying it too. You've really helped knock the rust off and like just get the fluff out of the way. It's like, okay, this is what you need to focus on. You give me something tangible to do, because there's so many things that you could be doing, but what's the lowest hanging fruit? What's going to get you the best return on investment for your time? The biggest benefit of our whenever we would talk to each other is just getting me back to what's important, getting me back to what I need to be doing today, tomorrow, to take steps to get closer. Removing the noise. Having a mentor is so important. I think people think that they need management way before they really do. Management will come when the time is right. And I think having a mentor or a coach is going to be a method to help you get to a position to need management, to get to the point where you're so overloaded with work and, bookings and everything that you need somebody. But nobody's going to save you. First of all, you're not going to save me. Only I can. But at least when you have a mentor, you have somebody who is consistently has your best interest in mind and is giving you solid, tangible advice on a day-to-day basis of what you need to do. Like, a manager is going to be there to help you get shows and to make sure like the business side is going well, but that's not going to give you a good day-to-day agenda and a mindset shift that you probably need in terms of making content and in terms of making music, that you can only really get with like a coach or a mentor or somebody who's done it and been through it on the artist side.
If you were on a call with me, like the same as your initial call was, this call right now, and it got to the end, felt good, but that artist was still like, I don't know, dude, I'm nervous. I don't know if this is the right move. From your perspective now, if you're on the call with that artist, what do you tell them? At
some point, you're going to have to take a leap of faith. You're going to have to take a risk. And that's something that I had to wrestle with. I have never been somebody who's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to quit my job, I'm going to start a business, whatever. Like, I've never had that like mentality. So for me, that was a very new thing and a very foreign concept, and something that in the back of my mind, I knew I had to do at some point if I really wanted to do this. But my logic brain would constantly override like, oh, you don't need to be spending money on this, whatever. But at some point, you have to take a risk on yourself, and you have to show yourself that you're willing to invest and willing to put in time and to take on help in order to really push your career further. Everybody needs somebody in their corner. Everybody needs to invest monetarily in some form, in some capacity, to get to where they want to go. It's just the way that it is. There's no replacement for working with a community and having a group of people that are doing the same thing. And that in and of itself is worth the price of admission. If you haven't experienced that, you don't know. But once you get with a group of people and everybody else is trying to achieve the same thing, it really makes things easier, and it makes it way, way better to stay on track and stay consistent. It's all about relationships, and not the relationship where it's like, oh, I just want to meet this person to get a gig. It's about just having friends and having a network of people who you can text and just say, hey, like, I'm burnt out. I'm not feeling it. Like, I feel like my wheels are spinning. Like, you have to find a group of people to ride this ship with.
I'm fully confident with you specifically, Jake, that like, if you stay on the pace you are, bro, I don't think there's any question within like a year or two, you're on tour, you're opening for someone, you're doing the thing.
I appreciate that. I'm gonna stick to my guns.
Well, Jakey, love you, bro.
Love you too, dude. Appreciate everything.
Send me some new music as you make it.
Totally. Peace.